Hi everyone. It's not been a great week. There's been lots of very sad news, but the one thing that is very exciting this week is this week's Sedra. It's Parshas Yisro. And if you remember, we left off last week. We just left Mitzrayim. We had all the 10 makkos, open miracles. We had the splitting of the sea. We sang Shira. We're all very positive and upbeat. We've left Mitzrayim. We've left slavery. And finally, after thousands of years, this promise is finally being realized. The whole purpose of Hashem creating the world was to give the Jewish people the Torah. And finally, 40 days on from leaving Mitzrayim, we have made it to the midbar of Sinai, to the wilderness, the desert, and we're in position. And Moshe tells the Jewish people, it's happening in 3 days' time. You've got to prepare yourself. You've got to be ready. And he gives them a whole list of instructions, and they say, yes, we're doing this. We're ready. We're very excited. And they spend the next 3 days preparing. And finally, it's the big day itself. And finally, it's this moment that the whole world has been waiting for. It's been promised to Avram, to Yitzchak and Yaakov, your children will be in Golos, but finally we're gonna get the Torah. And it says the Jewish people on that day, they came with Moshe and they stood at the bottom of the mountain. But instead of saying the bottom of the mountain, it says B'tachatis hahar, which literally means underneath the mountain. Now, some commentaries say, they were standing at the mountain, but others say actually it is meant to be taken literally, and Hashem actually held the mountain over their head, and he threatened them with it. He said, if you do not accept the Torah, then I will bury you under this mountain, which is very dramatic. They've been through a lot. They've been slaves for hundreds of years. They've just been blown away by these open miracles. They're all like, yes, Hashem, you're amazing. We sang about you at the sea. And we've said we're going to keep the Torah. Why are you holding a mountain over our head? I mean, come on, lighten up a bit. And it got me thinking, why is he holding a mountain over their head? They'd said they were going to accept the Torah. So why threaten them? If you don't accept the Torah, I'm going to hold this mountain over your head. So I was thinking, like I said, they have been slaves for a very long time, and they have this slave mentality. They only left 40 days ago, and they've spent years and years and years. They were all born into slavery. They'd never known a day's freedom in their life. And really, they're going from one taskmaster, Paro, who tells them absolutely everything they have to do, how to do it, when to do it, if they can do it, you can do it, you can't do it. Their whole life was completely dictated to. And now, just 40 days later, there's somebody else who's coming along and saying, this is what you can do, this is what you have to do, this is what you can't do, this is when you can do it, this is how you should do it. It's a very long list of do's and don'ts. And maybe there was a little bit of them that was thinking, like, I know we've been promised this, and I know we've been waiting thousands of years for this, and this is supposed to be what life's all about, but come on, give us a break. And so he did feel the need to hold a mountain over their head and threaten them. Now, of course, the obvious question is, if he threatened them, then did they ever really accept it? I mean, if someone's holding a gun to your head and you say, yes, I will do it, then obviously you've been coerced. So the commentaries explain that actually at the time they were coerced, but later on during the Purim story, which is of course happening in a few weeks, the Jewish people at that point really did take upon themselves to accept the Torah genuinely out of love and happiness, because they were on the level to accept it then. And actually 40 days on from being enslaved, maybe they just were not mentally prepared for it yet, and they weren't really on a very spiritual level yet to appreciate what it was. So years later, when we did appreciate it, we really did fully accept it. Now, this whole thing also got me thinking that maybe there's a bit of us, some of us, that, there's bits of mitzvahs that we also relate to in that way. Maybe it is just sometimes that we feel like this is a lot. Like, we have to daven 3 times a day, and all the Shabbos laws, all the things we can't do, and all of the kashrus laws, and did I mix it up, and did I put my milky spoon in my meaty pot, and it's all, it's complicated and it's detailed, and sometimes it can feel like a lot. Don't worry, you're perfectly normal. We all feel like that sometimes. And I've got an analogy for you. Imagine you're walking into Brent Cross think back to when we used to do that. You remember there was this big building nearby, big shopping centre. For those of you listening who aren't from London, Brent Cross is our local shopping centre. That is where you go for clothes and whatever else, and to hang out and to meet people. Back in the day when we used to meet people and socialise and do shopping. Now, this very big shop opened up in Brent Cross a few years ago. It was a shop that needed no name, and in fact it had no name. It still has no name on the door. It's strange that. I was like, what is that shop and why doesn't it have a name? Eventually, I realised what the shop was, and I'm sure you all know what the shop is. It's Apple. It's big, it's white, it's got glass doors and no name on the door because everyone knows what it is. And there are always queues and queues and queues of people, a whole long line of people just waiting to get into the shop. And if you look in the shop, there's again loads and loads and loads of people. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't have an iPhone. But everyone's standing, looking at the latest device and trying things out and looking intently at a screen and messing around. And it looks like it's all very serious, intense business. Now imagine you've walked into the shop and you have just purchased your very first iPhone. Very exciting, big investment, quite expensive. And suddenly this guy in the shop comes up to you and he says, hello. And you say, hello. And he says, can I help you? And you're like, oh, that's nice. And he says, do you know who I am? And you're like, no, have we met before? And he says, no, we haven't met, but I'm Steve. I'm Steve Jobs. You may have heard of me. You're like, oh, Steve, right. Of course, yes, you're quite famous. Steve, you're looking remarkably well for somebody who's been dead since 2011. What brings you here today? I mean, aren't you like sunning on a beach in the world to come or something? Why are you here? And he says, well, I make a point of always coming into all of the shops all over the world. I just really like to stay involved. I know I don't have to. You think I just designed it, created it, but I spent years and years. This was like a labor of love. Invested loads of time, loads of energy, loads of money. These products are, this is what I lived for. And now I just want everyone to get the most out of it that they can. So I go around and I just, I pick out some people and I just offer them a really exclusive service. You can see there's this line out the door, people waiting to speak to these Apple geniuses, and they might be waiting for a very, very long time. But I saw you looked excited about your phone. I wanted to come over and personally greet you and offer you the opportunity to have a one-on-one session with me. I'm going to give you my phone number. I'm going to give you my home address. I want you to just be able to call me night or day if you have any issues with your phone, if it's not working, if you're not sure how to do something. I want you to get absolutely every function out of it that you can. I've designed layers and layers of details and it's incredible. It's going to change your life. And I want to be there for you so that you can really maximize on it. And you just say to him, Steve, that is so nice of you. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you to take the time. But actually, I just want to use it to make phone calls. Like, I don't really need any of your fancy functions. I know you spend a lot of time on it, but I mean, I'm just quite a basic kind of person. I just want to use it to call people. I mean, what would he say to you? He'd be hugely disappointed. Not for his sake. He doesn't lose out by you not using the phone, but he created the phone for you to make your life better, to make you happier. And he's offered you the chance to speak to him, the designer who knows exactly how it works. And you're just like, nah, I'm fine. I mean, that is literally what we do every day. Hashem created the world and he created us. He knows exactly how the world functions. He knows exactly how we function, and he knows exactly what the purpose was of the world. The whole reason he created the world was for us, for our benefit, to make us happy, to give us purpose and meaning, and for us to have a relationship with him, which is the greatest good he could possibly offer us. And he detailed it all in a very long, detailed, comprehensive book. And there was an oral explanation that went along with it, which eventually got written down. And yes, it's very long, and yes, it's very detailed, but the point of it is that is the instruction book, that is the manual, that is how you're supposed to get the most out of your life. It's not supposed to be tedious or boring or burdensome. And if that's how it makes you feel, then maybe you need to mix things up a little. Maybe you need to just get excited about it again. Like, mitzvos are meant to be exciting. This is the week that we get the Torah. Yisro, this week, that's the laning. It's the week that's happening, and let's be excited about it. These are opportunities. It's not like it shouldn't feel like it's a drain, like, oh, that's another thing that we have to do because Hashem wants us to, or because our family wants us to, or because our neighbors want us to, or expect us to, or we feel that other people expect us to. It's for you. It's meant to be making your life better, your life happier, and find a way to make it do that. Pick the mitzvahs that appeal to you. Work on them, the ones that you are doing and enjoying, so do them more. And the ones that you're not enjoying, then let's work out why you're not enjoying them and find a way to make it better and more exciting for you. Maybe find out more about it. Just get busy with it, excited. I hope you have a good week, and, well, I hope the week gets better, and have a very good Shabbos.